Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All light.
Powered by Emery Allen. Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All light. What is up? Hey guys, I'm Ryan Lee, your host of Lighting for Profits, powered by Emery Allen. So excited for today's show. I don't know if you guys know this, but we are still trending the #1 landscape lighting show in Utah. That's cool. If you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, you're definitely in the right place. We're here to educate, to motivate, to help you dominate. And today we got an awesome show, guys. We got Mr. Keith Rosser. Do you remember Keith? He's been on the show before, and we've gotten to know each other pretty well. And he's making some big moves in business. And, life's not easy. We're going to talk about the ups, the downs, all the good stuff. But Keith has been in the industry a long time, and I always enjoy speaking with him. So surely you've got a lot to learn on this episode. And I know I'm excited about it, so I hope you are as well. He's coming on in just a few minutes. So thank you guys. Thank you so much for your support. It's so crazy that that I get to do this. Like it's fun. Like it's so fun. And we're up to 79 Apple reviews and a bunch on Spotify too. So that's pretty cool. So thank you guys so much for your support. If you're bored and you want to go give me an Apple review, 5 stars. We're only accepting 5 stars right now. That'd be sweet. I'd appreciate that. And today, guys, before we have Keith on, I'm going to share with you. Okay, I'm going to share with you the one thing that like 99% of business owners think they need more of, but actually this thing is not going to solve their problems. Okay, I'm going to share that with you. But before I do that, this week in literally 2 days, we're putting on another Omni training. So we got the permanent lighting training at my house. This week, Jimmy Tompkins and Omni is coming into town again. And we're doing some more permanent lighting on my back, shop, outdoor living area, whatever you want to call it. So it's not too late to get registered. If you want to go, just send me a DM, send me a message, and I'll get you the registration. But it's free. Jimmy is rich, so he doesn't charge for trainings. And what's cool is my mom is cooking again. So if you've ever been to an event where my mom's provided food, you know that even if the training is bad, you won't even remember because the food's so good. So she is providing a couple meals for us, which is always exciting. And so make sure you guys get registered. It's only in 2 days. It starts Thursday at noon. So you can actually come in Thursday morning, and then it ends Friday night after dark, about 9:30, after you've had a chance to mess with the lights and stuff like that. And then I'm like, get out of here. But if you want to stick around, we can hang out in the hot tub and stuff. So, but speaking of my mom, I want to share this story real quick. My mom was an accountant, and she worked at the same company for like 30 plus years. Okay. Which is crazy because I already had like so many different jobs and houses and moved and all this different stuff. And, but she raised us 3 kids all on her own. And she taught me really like all those good attributes that you see about me. Like she taught me all those, all the bad ones, probably my dad. Um, but she taught me like the work ethic, like never give up. And just like, I look back now as a parent and I'm like, damn, like she was a really good mom. Like you don't know as a kid, like, do I have a good mom or not? Like you feel like it is, but now I just have so much more appreciation because I got my own kids, I got my own life, right? And I definitely would not be able to do what she did. I mean, she would come home, guys, and like she's still like in her work dress, and like instantly start boiling water to cook potatoes and cutting potatoes and cook dinner every single night. We didn't have enough money to eat out. Like she just cooked a meal every single night. And then she'd clean up dinner and then go to bed and sleep and then wake up and then go to work and then like the same thing over and over for like 30 plus years. Pretty incredible. And now I was usually decent with math, like in school, but I don't know why, if it had anything to do with her being an accountant or not, but I just didn't want to study finance. I didn't want to go into accounting. It seemed boring. I don't know if her job seemed boring to me. I'd go there every once in a while and hang out at her work, but I couldn't figure out what I want to do with my life. So I didn't go into accounting. I didn't go into finance. I got a marketing degree. But looking back, I actually think that a degree in finance would be super helpful for any business owner. And there's some things I learned along the way about finance and numbers and stuff like that. But I think I would have just learned so much faster had I been more familiar with accounting and finance. Okay. And the reason I bring this up is because I noticed that almost every single business owner has a lot of the same problems. And a lot of them revolve around money, right? And unfortunately, most business owners that have problems with money are in a little bit of denial. And yes, I might be talking to you. But even if you are aware and you're like, I'm not that good with numbers, I'm just not a numbers guy. The one thing that you think is going to solve most of your problems is actually not going to solve your problems. So if I asked you today, and I'll ask you right now, like, what's the number one thing that you need more of in your business right now? What's the number one thing you need? What would help you the most right now, other than like a rich uncle with like $1 million? Okay, but what's holding you back? Like, what could I help you with? What do you need the most help with? What would you say? And I'll tell you, because I ask this to almost everybody who reaches out to us. We ask this question: like, what's your number one obstacle? What's the number one thing you need help with? And the majority of businesses that I talk to respond overwhelmingly with the same response. And you might be thinking it right now. Depends on if I'm a good magician or not. But let's say it out loud together. Let's say it. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I need more leads. Maybe I was right. Maybe I was wrong in your head. But that's what most people think they need more of. Most people think they need more leads. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need more leads. You don't need more leads. You need better pricing and a better sales process. Okay. You're working on the wrong variable here. And let me explain. So, inside Landscape Lighting Secrets, when I put this program together, I realized this early on, and it's because I went through the same trap. Okay. I learned after a decade of experience, I was doing things in the wrong order. And so, inside Landscape Lighting Secrets, we have this proven formula for success. And although everybody wants more leads, I get that, right? And but that's not where we start inside Landscape Lighting Secrets, because it's not the thing that you need more of. You have a broken pricing system and you have a broken sales process. So why feed more leads through this uh broken system, right? And so let me run through a scenario real quick so I can show you what I'm talking about. So let's say that right now your business is getting 10 leads per week. And when I say a lead, that's a phone call, a form fill. It's a lead. It doesn't mean you met with them, but it's just a lead, right? So let's say you get 10 leads. That converts to 7 booked appointments. That means on your pre-qualification, whatever, like you got 10 leads, 7 appointments, and you close 3 of those. This is like an average lighting company today, and you close 3 of those jobs. And some of you are like, oh, I think I closed more than that. Well, the data doesn't lie. Numbers don't lie. So if you're not tracking this, start tracking it now and prove me wrong. Show me that you get 10 leads and 10 appointments and 10 sales, right? Like, whatever your numbers are, they are. And you can run them through this scenario. But 10 leads, 7 appointments, which means you close 3 deals. Let's say you're charging an average of $300 a light, which again is kind of an average lighting company today. And your average project is 25 lights. So that means that each of these projects are $7,500. You close 3 of them. That's $22,500 in top line revenue. Now, from a profit standpoint, it's really hard to say because a lot of people don't know their numbers. They didn't go to finance school. They don't know their numbers. But let's just say I'm being generous and I say that you make a net profit margin of 15%. Now, that could be high, that could be low. Everyone's numbers are going to be different here, but chances are your number is probably not that high, because most businesses are not succeeding because they don't have enough money. They don't have a profit to reinvest into hiring more talent, into reinvesting into marketing and all these things. And so 15% is after you pay your overhead, after you pay everything, after you pay yourself. Do you have 15% left in your business at the end of the year? And in most cases, the answer is no. But I'm going to be generous. I'm going to give that to you. So if you take 15% of $22,500, that's $3,375. Okay, $3,300. Now, I don't know about you, but I personally, I cannot survive on $3,300 a week. I can't survive on $3,300 a week. Okay. If I'm going to still run a business, I mean, maybe if I don't have to like pay to run a business, right? And I simplify my life and get rid of some kids or whatever, like maybe I could run on $3,300 a week, right? But how are you going to grow? How are you going to be able to afford to hire your next team member? How are you going to be able to afford to invest in marketing? And heck, what if something goes wrong? Like, it's not that much money. Okay. So let's change some variables in this equation and show you what just changing your pricing and sales and not worrying about more leads will do to your bottom line. So number of leads stays the same. You get 10 leads, but now you get 10 leads, 7 appointments. But let's figure out that we just figured out how to squeeze out one extra deal every week. Okay. So Now you close 4 deals instead of 3. And here's where it starts to get pretty interesting. So now you go from $22,500 to $30,000. Okay, your profit is, let's just say we haven't changed our price yet. It's still 15%. So now you go from $3,300 to $4,500. If you squeeze out one extra deal every week, that's an extra what? $1,200. $1,200 a week. It may not sound substantial, but you times that by 50 weeks. Now all of a sudden you're looking at 60 grand. What would you do with an extra 60 grand? Just by making this one small move in your process. And again, you're not focused on more leads yet because you haven't dialed in this part of your process. This is like filling a bucket with water and it's got all these holes in the bottom. We're just trying to plug these holes in, right? Now, here's where the real magic happens. So, yeah, okay, wow, you just helped me make an extra $1,200, 60,000. Who cares? Like, I can buy a boat with that. Who cares, right? Well, this is where it gets fun. This is where the magic happens. So now we're going to help you raise your price from $300 a light to $400 a light. And by the way, some of you could literally just do this. Most of you need to add some value, and there's some strategy here and scripts and process changes and stuff like that. But assuming that you implement some of these changes and you raise your price to that $400 a light. Now, this is crazy. Same 4 jobs, same 25 light projects, which we could do another variable and teach you how to sell 26 lights, 27 lights, 30 lights, 35 lights, right? But we're not going to go there yet. That's a whole nother episode. If we keep it at 25 lights, times that by the $400 a light, now you go from a $7,500 job to a $10,000 job. The same 4 jobs, you're making an extra $2,500 per job, which means you're making an extra $10,000 that week, plus your $4,500. So now you're at $10,450. Your profit margin goes from 15% to 26%. You notice this is how percentages and numbers are weird. You only increased your percentage net by 10%, but you doubled and even tripled your profit dollars. Right? That's what's crazy about these numbers, okay? Because you don't have to double your percentage of profit to double your dollars profit. You just have to increase it a little bit. Just a 10% price increase is going to triple your profit dollars. That's how this game is won, you guys. It's a giant math equation. Dan Plata would love me right now. But seriously, this is how now you have extra money. You have extra wiggle room. So now you got an extra $7,000 a week that you can invest back into growth. So don't mess this up. This is the thing. Like, stop saying, I need more leads. I need more leads. It's like, fix your pricing, fix your sales. Then now that you've got this dialed in machine, then you can feed the machine with leads. Now you're printing money. That's how this game is won. Everyone else is focused on bringing in all these leads, right? And this is what makes it come together. So nail it, then scale it. That's what we're doing here. And a lot of people, they reach out to marketing companies, and they pay them to generate leads, and they get leads. And then they don't close the leads, or they don't close them at the right price. And then they don't get a return, right? And so if you don't get a return on your investment, you don't renew with the marketing company, and then you don't have leads. And then this is why you're stuck in this cycle, right? But if you can maximize each opportunity and you get a $10,450 return, then of course it makes sense to continue with that marketing company. But if you're only making $3,300 and they want 2,000 of it, then hell no, you can't afford that. Right? So this is how the game is won. You need to focus on these variables because you're focused on the wrong thing. And I'm not saying there's not bad marketing companies out there, guys. Of course there is, right? But you can't always blame the marketing company. If your pricing's off, you don't know how to close, you don't have a proven system, then it doesn't matter how good the marketing company is going to be. And it's honestly one of the reasons I got out of the digital marketing space, because no matter how many good leads I got, people, if they didn't have the right pricing structure and they didn't have the right closing game, it didn't matter. It didn't matter how good the leads were. So the problem is not the lack of leads. The problem, unfortunately, is you. And you have a broken sales and pricing system. The good news is you can fix it. Like, first, you got to be aware. You got to identify that there's a problem. Then now you can focus on fixing it. So until you fix it in the right order, marketing is not going to be the solution. So I want to encourage you guys to take action, go do the thing, fix the things that you need to in your business. And it starts with pricing, and it starts with sales. All right. Hey, real quick. Today's show, guys, by the way, thank you, is powered by Emery Allen. Thank you, Emery Allen. So stop settling for cheap, unreliable lamps that ruin your projects and your reputation. Emery Allen's line of premium LED lamps deliver the performance, longevity, and color consistency your clients expect. Trusted by lighting designers and installers around the country and backed by decades of lighting expertise. Better lamps, better projects, better profits with Emery Allen. So all you guys need to do, if you haven't already taken advantage of the hookup, just email tomg@emeryallen.com. Mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits, and he will get you hooked up with that discounted contractor pricing and get you started today. So don't go to their website unless you want to pay more. Just email tomg@emeryallen.com. All right, I think it's time. Oh, hey, what's up, Tom Garber? Good to see you on here, man. And Juan, thank you. Thank you so much. He's going to shoot us over a review. Is that going to be on Apple or Spotify? I don't know why I want Apple, because Apple, you can write something nice. I think that's why I like Apple, but Spotify is good too. Whatever it is. Thanks, Juan. Appreciate you. All right, guys, I think it's time. Where's our guest intro music? There it is. You ready, Keith? Welcome to the show, Mr. Keith Rosser.
Well, thank you. Good to see you, Ryan. Good to be with you.
Hey, man, I always love hanging out with you, and it's always fun to have you on the show. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, we talk on a more regular basis than we used to, so that's always fun. But it's interesting because I was just kind of going off on finance and numbers and stuff like that. But I've met hundreds of lighting companies, and you are in the top. I don't know. I didn't think about this until I just started talking. So I don't know. I would say top 5, but maybe top 1. Like, you are super financially disciplined. Where did that come from? Like, you really are. You know, like you're not going to run out of money. Like, you figured that out.
Oh, jeez, me, Ryan.
Where did that come from?
I don't know. Where did that? Why am I always in the numbers?
Yeah, like where did that financial discipline come from?
What is it? Your intro says is something in my childhood. I don't know. I guess I didn't. I haven't always been that way. When I was my 20s and 30s, it's like when my dad would tell me to do certain things, you just do the opposite. You're like, well, I'll prove him wrong. And you think you're wise and you're not. And I think I went through some things like maybe many have, where you're living, you think you're living in your means and you're living large, and you're making a big income, but you're making dumb decisions and acting like it's always going to be around. And it's the old saying of what was it? Albert Einstein said, he was asked the question, what's the most powerful thing in the universe? And he said, compounding interest. And then it leads to those who understand it and those who don't. And I would say that there was a time in my life I didn't understand that until it got brought to my attention in maybe a not so pleasant way. And I made a commitment I'd never be that guy again. And,
Interesting.
And I got into a cash mind. I got into a zero interest mindset, which set me free. And it took the handcuffs off. And I've been living in that world for long enough that I really value, cash is king. And but given there's times we've had to take debts in our business when we were younger, making sure we use that leverage to get ahead. And I think there's the right way to do it, and there's wrong ways to do it. But now we try to, our company and our lifestyles, where we've gotten to where we focus on the nugget, our retirement and what that would look like, and trying to retire with both feet on the gas pedal instead of taking them one off, put it on the brake. But I just have tried to leverage things and do that in the right ways, I'll say.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. It's something that I look up to you. I admire you. You've created a really nice business, a really nice life for yourself, and I just see so many people that are just like, I don't know, they're just living like day to day, and they're complaining, "Oh, I can't afford marketing, I can't afford this," and then they're on a really nice vacation. I'm like, well, you could afford that. Um, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know if it's credit cards. I don't know what it is, but I just think that maybe without even knowing it, you've like set this standard of like how to run a really good business, because it it gives you that cash is king mentality. It gives you so much power as a business owner. It allows you to take risks. If you have
I agree.
cash in the bank and you go and try this direct mail thing and it doesn't work, well, that sucked. It didn't work. But
Yeah. I don't look at it as risk as much as I look at it as calculation. Experience has taught you what it takes, and it's a numbers game. And when you know your numbers and you know the statistics behind that through experience, you can apply it and move forward with that. And I don't see it as risk. I see it as a necessity. With marketing, all the things you need to do to stay in front of your clients, and but know your numbers. I mean, bottom line, if you don't know them, get to work, figure it out.
yeah, well said. I like the it's not risk, it's necessity. That's cool.
Ryan, you can tell me in the modules that you in your coaching program that knowing your daily expense, knowing your weekly, monthly, everything, because when people are asking you, what should you price your product, what should your game be, till you know all those other things, you have no idea what you should price. You're just pricing randomly, thinking, well, now I got to make it work. Instead of the other way around, make it work for you. And don't be afraid to do that. I think that's important. It's an important exercise to go through. And I really enjoyed when I did that with your program, to realize, I thought I had things right and I didn't, after, 20 plus years of doing it. And I'm like, wait a minute, I got to look at this very differently. And
Were,
that did.
were the numbers higher than you were expecting?
Um,
Like, was it costing you more to run your business than you thought, or what was
yeah,
surprising?
yeah, I think so. I think so. And when you're not doing it from the seat of your pants and you really understand it, it forces you to take steps that are necessary. You need to make those adjustments and know them, and add margin for error. Not every day is sunny. so
Right.
so you got to look. You got to look at those averages, and you have to make changes and investments where needed to keep that trajectory going, because you can't just maintain like this, because inflation and everything else is going to eat you up.
Yeah, so good. Well, you brought up the fact that, like, you did things for 20 years or whatever. They say you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm trying. I'm really trying. Uh, One of the things that, that we talk about a lot is just getting uncomfortable. And it's uncomfortable to try different ways and sit down and work on stuff that you don't really want to. Most of us just want to go meet with clients and talk about lights and nerd out on lights. We don't really want to know our numbers. Like, we didn't get into this to know our numbers. What are some of the things that you've done, in the last few years that we've known each other, or whatever, that you'd maybe consider a change from what you were doing before, or things that maybe felt uncomfortable? Maybe they still do, or maybe you've gotten used to them now.
I think for me, I fall back on traditional things I've always done that have worked well, and it's something where Ty, my son, who's been working in our company for the last, I can't even say, 13, 14 years, into high school, through college, out of college till now. Ty's 32, and it's funny how, I'm 57. And it's I don't feel 50. I still feel young at heart. I still feel like I can do whatever I want in life and do all the things. Yet I look in the mirror and go, wow, man, I guess I am getting older, and I have to listen to Ty's youth and but also his wisdom, because the youth today, I say youth, younger entrepreneurs in that today, I think, are more prepared than you or I ever could have been. when we were in our 20s trying to find our way through it, because there's so much more information for them. Your program and what that offers is a startup and a quick punch to get out the door and out the gate the right way. I made so many mistakes along the way, but getting to your point with Ty, he's brought so many other perspectives to me through his life experience and through his professional experiences and with those that he coordinates with in his life. Digital, for example, is something that we all are aware of what social media and or just all AI today. It's just what a mind blow. I mean, nobody can even really fully comprehend what it is or where it's going, and maybe the pitfalls or the rewards and how it can help us. But it's important that I think we really lean into those things and not be afraid of it. And maybe I'm the guy who's always afraid, and most people out there aren't. but maybe I'm there. Maybe we have a lot in common in that too. But it's pushing my team and my people to sharpen their skills, get uncomfortable, ask them to do things they're not comfortable doing.
Well,
in our office space, because I'll give you a great example. Nina, our office manager, she's got a lot of life experience, a lot of things that she's used to doing in the office and very knowledgeable at. But there's some new technologies that I think she's a little afraid to even dive into. I think she was so scared that she wouldn't be able to do it. And recently, in the last few weeks, she dove in and she was so excited. And she just came to me with oh my gosh, I can do this. This is incredible. And I didn't think that I could ever, manage these steps and figure these things out. And she has, and it's opening new doors for our company. Things that, I wasn't doing, but the people around me, I'm finding ways to get them involved in their doing. Anyway, I'm rambling, but that's kind of where I'm going with it.
Yeah, I love it. So, I mean, because human beings, we're creatures of comfort. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, we are all afraid of change. Because it's like, well, if we figured out something that's working, even if it's not working well, it just has to work good enough.
Yeah.
As long as we're not homeless, it's easier to keep doing what we're doing.
Right. It's like my golf swing. I think my swing looks very different than when I see a video of it, and I realize I am a hack. But in my mind, I'm Tiger Woods on the tee box. Yeah.
I don't know if I've seen it. Is it Charles Barkley-esque?
Kind of, pretty much.
You do a stall?
Completely yippee over the top, and yeah. So, anyway.
Greg was chiming in. How do we get Greg, or how do we?
I saw him flash up there. I didn't see there he is.
How do we get Keith off the golf course? I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't
want to. You're never going to get me off the golf course.
I think it's cool though. Like, when I look at what you've created and the way you live your life and just all the stuff we're talking about, and I know it's not perfect. I'm gonna get to the hard questions, screw ups and stuff. But right now we're talking about the good things. Like, you like to golf and you like to work and you figure that out. I feel like without knowing it, you asked yourself the question, what has to be true? What has to be true for Keith to have this lifestyle, to be these things, and show up for his family, and show up for his business, and show up for his clients? What's that process been like? Like, have you always been able to do that, or did that happen at some point along your career where you're like, I'm going to be more intentional about having fun?
No, it hasn't always been like that. When I was younger, I was working literally 100 plus hours a week, every week. I was working 53 hours a week full time at the fire department, and every minute I wasn't there, I was working on my business. And I was working weekends at the fire department, getting home Monday morning, working I worked a 48-96 schedule, so I was on 2 straight days for 48 hours and then 96 off, which sounded great when I was young. I thought, what a great schedule to have, man. I get 4 days off and I can ride motorcycles, take the boat to the lake, do all the fun stuff, go skiing all winter. But the reality was, life got expensive, and I needed to bring in the bacon, and I was working all the time, and I wasn't there for my family. I wasn't, being the father and or true to them or myself, really. And there's a piece of life. There's a time I felt like I threw away way too much time, and I retired from the fire department 10 years ago this summer. And when I did that, it's when I really started learning how to balance my time. And there's there was that show we used to watch way back with anyway that
Cheers.
Not Cheers, not that far back. Where it was a agency out of Hollywood, and it was on HBO, and the guy says, he was complaining because he had to work 50 hours a week, and to his boss, and his boss says, "Yeah, I remember my first part-time job too." And I was like, and that was reality. Like, if you want to succeed, you got to work. You got to put in the time and the dedication, and that's true to some level, but I was doing it the wrong way. And so what I think I learned from all that is slowing down, focusing, and scheduling time for the important things in your life. And I think that Entourage, Greg, it wasn't Mad Men. Entourage. Was the show that, yeah, Ari.
I've been trying to watch that. I've been watching it, but the problem is like my living room is like the center of the house, so all the kids can hear it and stuff. And
that's not good.
It's not for kids, guys. So I'm like, I have to wait till the kids go to sleep, and then I'm up super late. It's like it's a hard show to watch with a family.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. So, anyways, but I think it's important you schedule. Number one, learn how to say no, and how to. It's okay to say no. Can't do that. And I've learned to schedule my time, a better way. And I've had a lot of people in the industry tell me I'm nuts when it comes to this. I protect my nighttime. I don't go out at night. I don't do nighttime walkthroughs, but I send my team leads. I send my guys that get rewarded commissions overtime. There's ways they're excited to go out and do that, and it educates them, and they learn and they develop. And I'm not the one going out there and doing it. And so I do go out on particular jobs and particular clients that need me out there. I do, but
$100,000 jobs and up, you're like, okay, I'll go.
I just finished an $85,000 job. I didn't go.
Yeah, because it's not 100.
I don't know. But my guys know how to do it. Their job is to build a relationship with the client, so the client doesn't feel that I'm not there.
Is this is this Ty, the designer, or the technician going out to do the walkthrough?
Team leads.
Are they going out every single time?
No. Only when necessary or requested.
Okay.
We follow up with every client about everything that we're installing, completing, and all the above. But when they do request a nighttime, we certainly won't deny that. We go out, and our team leads, we train, we talk about what they're doing and what it's all about, what it entails, and they follow through with our client until they're thrilled with everything. And like I say, I do go out. Maybe I'll say at the most 10 nights a year. Where I need to. And Ty probably goes out 20 or 30, I would say, at the most. But our guy, maybe not even that much, 20 with Ty. But our team leads go out probably one out of every 6-7 installs, I would say.
And then do they get paid a bonus, or do they get paid extra, like hourly, or how do you figure that out?
They get overtime, and we give them a minimum time so that, if they got to go out there for an hour, we make it worth their while.
Okay.
They get like a 3-hour minimum to go out, and then they also get commission. So when they're there and they need, they're talking about adding a light here or there, whatever the case, they get a 10% commission on that. So they're excited to go get it. I had one of my guys last pay period. I think he took about $700 in commissions, and he's my top dog. And I would say he averages probably $800 to $1,100 a month in commission, and that motivates him.
That's from doing those walkthroughs and upselling lights at the walkthrough.
Little everything, yeah. Even upsells while they're installing or at night. Either way, yeah.
You're talking about being intentional with your time and, protecting, like learning to say no. Like I ain't going out every night just because someone in the lighting industry told me I had to, or whatever it is. Right. Um,
I can tell you a lot of examples of learning to say no. Here's one that comes up not as much as it used to. Like years back, it was almost like we just were conditioned to believe that, and the world's changed. I think our clients work a lot more remotely than they do in an office space. But we work for surgeons, we work for lawyers, we work for people that got to be in an office. So my point is, Monday we try to schedule our last consultations no later than 3 o'clock because we have a life. We want to be home by 5 ourselves, right? And I want to be home by 3. I want to be home. Last night I went and played 9 holes at 4 with my wife. So, to me that's important that my wife and I have time together. And so what I'm getting at is when people say, "Hey, I don't get off work. I can't get home till 5 o'clock. I got to meet at 5:30 or 6, or on a Saturday morning, or and we just won't do it. We just tell them, we will, but we figure a way out to make that work. It's really funny to me how many times we told someone that, they're like, we just can't meet. It has to be a Saturday. And we tell them, well, we're happy to do so, but just be aware, we charge a $250 consultation fee for after hours, which will apply towards your project should you move forward. You know what every one of them says? All right, I can do next Tuesday at
Friday.
10. You're like, oh, okay, great, let's make that happen. And it's just, I think it's learning to set boundaries in your business, in your life, so that you don't miss the important things.
Isn't that crazy? Like for some reason, you start a business and you think that you just have to not have boundaries and be, yes sir, yes ma'am, and just do everything that everyone else wants. And then when you do learn that not only is setting the boundary like nice, it's actually the right thing. Like there's just no reason why if you push back on someone, then they say, yeah, let's do Tuesday at 10. You're like, what? Like I was gonna have to come there at Saturday, and then you were gonna probably blow me off because you're probably on the golf course or whatever. Like you just
Yeah.
don't know what you don't know until you hear Keith on a podcast tell you it's okay to set some boundaries.
Yeah. I mean, there's exceptions to rules, but that's one I won't break. I just don't break it.
Not that one.
No, I don't.
Talk a little bit about your business, and I, apologize to put you on the spot. So if you don't have these numbers right offhand, but how much of your business, a lot of people still brag today, like a badge of honor, like, yeah, my business is all word of mouth. And I'm like, oh, okay. And there's like, are you a word of mouth waiting on someone to refer you like a client, or like, are you going after referral partners? Cause like going after referral partners isn't technically advertising, but it's still not relying on word of mouth. It's still a strategy there. How much of your business is like repeat versus marketing versus the word of mouth referral type stuff like that?
So I couldn't tell you how many um, uh, source codes we have in our CRM, but it's got to be around 30, 35 source codes as far as how we break it down. And one of those is, sure, customer referral or a strategic partner referral, or word of mouth through, my golf community, or is one, that's word of mouth, but we break it down exactly to, well, which country club, or where, how, where, why, what. But I would say a third of our business is repeat customer referral. If that's a self-referral, they bought a new home, they moved, they built, whether it's a neighbor referral, family referral, something like that. But at the same time, that to me is not word of mouth. That comes through continuous drip campaigns,
Yep.
through email blasts, through social media, through there's a million ways that we keep in touch with those clients. We've got to make sure that we're at the front of mind, and and that's just through telling our story and and involving them in that story as much as possible. So I think for me, that's with our annual services and everything we do, we're always present with our clients, and if they move, we move with them. It's just how it is. We've taken sound systems out. People are moving, and they're like, "I want my sound system." We're going to go reinstall it for them, or whatever. So when they move, we move with them. But did that answer your
Yeah.
thought there, Ryan, as
Well,
far as?
I think it's well said, because I think the nice thing about once you can stay in business longer than 5, 10, 15 years, like you've got that benefit of, even if you didn't do social media, you're going to get some referral, you're going to get some word of mouth. But
Sure.
what you put is this massive wave of intention behind it. And even a direct mail postcard that's not intended for your existing client is intended for your existing client. Like you think, oh, I'm just going to do this to get new leads. But then all of a sudden, when you go and look at those tracking numbers, someone called you and they're like, hey, we need maintenance. We got a light out. And they called the number on the direct mail postcard. And then you go and upsell them X number of lights or whatever it is. So I think that's the message that I want to get out, that I've seen you do very well, is it's this entire ecosystem of marketing, of branding, of telling your story. And it's not just for new business. It's to sustain that repeat, that referral, that word of mouth to keep coming in.
Yeah. I mean, I get it all the time. It's so funny. I'll ask clients, new prospective clients that we're consulting with, and I ask every single one of them, "How did you hear about us?" Natural in conversation to start break the ice. And it's amazing to me how many times I'll hear so many different things. Like, I can't even remember how we heard about you. My husband set this up, but we see you in the neighborhood all the time, or we've seen your mailers, we've seen your trucks, we've seen your, X, Y, or Z. And it blows my mind because, I mean, being a landscape lighting company, you're not a household name. You're not Coca-Cola. And so, but people, well, I've had people pull out things from way back and say, well, I've held on to this because I've had other projects we're working through, and we just finished our pool, and we knew the whole time after we got our pool, we were going to have your company out here to do our lighting because we've seen your work, and man, we're just excited to get you on board. And so you're conditioning that mind.
So many landscape lighting companies out there don't have an annual maintenance plan. They're just in it for the the $5,000, the $10,000 job, whatever, and then they're like, oh man, where do I get my next lead? And I'm like, you don't need another lead. You need to raise your price and close more deals. But maintenance, man, this is also another way to get that repeat business, to get the referrals and all those types of stuff. How important has service plans been for your company?
It's the foundation, the backbone of what we are and who we are. I can't honestly remember, thinking back, why we needed an annual service plan or a service mindset from the very start. But I can tell you, one of the things in my previous company, I had a lawn fertilizing company that we sold to True Green way back, and one of the things I loved about that company was the residual. You didn't just go in and do one thing and say, "Oh, call us if you need us." We sold service programs, and they were renewed. They were auto renewed, and that was what got me in that mindset, I think, along with Tim McKay. Tim worked for his brother Jerry in Omaha way back. We're talking 25 years ago or more. And then he went to work with nightscaping with Bill Laughlin. And that was my introduction into lighting, was when Tim came out to meet with me, and I wanted to know about fixtures. I said, Tim, I need to know fixturing, man. I need an in-grade fixture for this or that. And he's like, whoa, slow down. He's like, well, let's talk about light. And he had this old bar. It was like a acrylic bar with light sockets in it, and he had all these MR16s lined up on it. And he'd hit the button and they'd turn on differently, and I'd shine them up on the wall in my living room. And he's teaching me beam spread and all this stuff. And it was like, oh wow, man. So we designed with a light. I thought it was a fixture thing. And so it was really cool right from the start. And then he's telling me about, you know what, I think at that time I'd sold like one job. And so he's talking to me about service plans. And I'm like, okay, service plans, but yeah, I mean service. So wait, let's talk about lights. And so anyway, it just got in my head. It got in my head from the word go that service was so important. And it's funny because along the way, along this journey, I've had so many guys say way back, I don't hear it too much anymore because I don't associate with them anymore, but it was like, there's no money in service. no money at all. And I'm like, what do you mean there's no money in service? It's got to, they're like, you only make money when you're installing. And I was like, okay, I can see the point of that. And maybe it's because you weren't setting up your service to be an actual standalone part of your company.
Yeah.
With service, you're having your techs go out and do it in between things, and so you're not efficient in anything. But when you have teams set up just for service, and that's all they do, including your office, and somebody managing the service, it's amazing how it can really not just explode for you, but you have to really, and it's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because it's that relationship with your clients. They trust you. They know you. They want you to service their system, and they, you know, and that's the benefit of it is the reward of the profitability it makes your company with it, because it is a big deal.
Well, you've been doing it a long enough time now too, where it just keeps building up. I mean, it's like this snowball going down the mountain. It's like, okay, maybe at first there is no money in it, but you start adding another client. Now it's like, dang, it's a good thing we got that service.
I kid you not. In April, May, I mean, April and May is the time of year when, for our location here, that every single day we add another automatic annual to our list. So we kind of call it a goofy thing. We have annual service and we have our automatic annuals. Our automatic annuals are those who are just on our list indefinitely. Until they tell us we're done, take us off the list. But we go out and we rarely, get very few cancellations. They just stay on our list. We do 1, 2, or 3 visits a year, depending on their option. You know, our gold, platinum, diamond packages, and it's automated. We get it done, and like I say, we add like 1 a day for 2 months straight. At least 1 a day. We've had 3, 4 a day calling in. Yeah, put us on the program, because we're digitally reaching out to them. We're constantly reminding them of their service. We give them very simple one-click options. It's not a form. It's not when they call us, we'll talk to them about it. It's right in front of them, an email blasts and things we do to get right in front of them, and it works.
Nice. Well, switch gears for a minute. We've talked about a lot of the good stuff that's happened and a lot of the fun stuff, but what's maybe on the most I was just going to ask you, what's the most challenging thing that you faced as a business owner? What are some of the struggles that you faced?
COVID. That wasn't fun. I think that, and when I say COVID, it wasn't the hardest part, for whatever reason. And it's no mystery, is employee retention, finding people that really could focus and value their jobs and follow direction. We've had to really work through that and work hard at building strong teams and have retention with that. And I think we're doing much better today than we were a few years ago. I'm finding and hearing and sensing that's most business experiences, but there's still a gap there with I think developing people the way they need to be. Maybe it's me. Maybe I can.
Are you are you recruiting differently? Are you interviewing differently? Are you training differently?
Yeah, I think we're doing better that we're having better longevity with our people. We're getting better people, and so when we only need to find one person, it's a lot easier to find that experience, I think, than if we're short 3 or 4 people. We're just like, man, we need a body. We need somebody who can show up. And now it's well more than just showing up. We're looking for the right fit, the right culture, somebody with actually a decent background, not necessarily in our industry, but in an industry that they've done well in, and be able to incentivize them to come and join our team.
So you've been in Secrets now for a couple of years. This is your first year being in Lighting Legends. Is there anything that surprised you about yourself, or is there anything that program's really empowered you to do that you're like, okay, this is hard?
Yeah, I mean, You know what I love about it is I feel like, hey, I've got a homework assignment. There's something I'm always working on and trying to perfect. And that if I don't do that, I'm not only disappointing you or other peers in our group, but I'm also disappointing myself. And I see the value in hard work in going through those things. And even though I've been doing this a while, I've probably in the last 2-3 years applied more principles and new understanding in my company than I have before that. You just kind of go through the motions, doing the same old things, and you know what it is too, Ryan. It's not like as part of the Legends group or others in Lighting Secrets. It's not like you're just hearing ideas where you're going, "Hey, I could try that," or "Wow, I never thought of that." It's more about finding your own answers and doing the hard work. And you got to put in the hard work to, I think, understand and apply what you learn, and finding your answers, and realizing your strengths that you can draw from, and also discovering your weaknesses and where those are and how those can bite you in the ass, and shoring those things up, building your foundation better.
I like that because like when we meet, I'll be like, oh man, I've got this vision of Keith and what he should do with his company and how he's going to do this and this. I'm like, wait, that's my vision. Like that's not Keith's answer. Keith's answer is within. Like you have to discover your own answer. And it's kind of interesting because like on one side of it, I'm like, wait, he's not fulfilling my vision. Why is he not doing X, Y, or Z or whatever? But it's like, no,
Yeah.
he's doing his version of his vision, which is really the most important thing.
Well, I mean, I appreciate that, right? Because, we're all different. We all, not only are we all different as individual business owners, but I think our demographics are different everywhere. And, I think that in America, we have a lot of very similar understanding, and I think our clients respond a lot in the same ways to our approaches. But what I mean is that, like, there's parts of this country that lighting's far more important than others, and communities that way. But what I'm getting at is I like when you and I will have a discussion about some things we're working on, and we don't have to agree, but collectively we find a better process, and we find the answers. And we may not find them right then. It may take some time, but we come back to them and we keep grinding on them, and we find the solutions.
Yeah, well said. And I look even in the last, just the last few months, you've made big changes. You've got a new office, you got new warehouse space. You're making big moves. I'm like, that's pretty dang good because 6 months ago, a year ago, those conversations were going a little bit different. I feel like so you are creating your vision and fulfilling what Keith wants to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, I never really wanted to expand our company necessarily to new locations or new ventures. I wanted to perfect what I had, and I have some mentors and a few examples in my professional career in the lighting industry that I've seen be able to do that in markets that in my opinion, my market has so much more opportunity, and I wasn't reaching my potential. So that's what I really have focused on maybe the last 6-7 years. And then as I've experienced things in life, I've just gotten to where I kind of was like, I don't need to go above and beyond and go further and deeper. I'm pretty happy in life, and I don't want to mess that up. And then I had an opportunity a year ago. A gentleman approached me from my community here, who is in nearly 20 markets nationwide in the outdoor industry, who wanted to have us help him expand his horizons into the outdoor lighting industry, and partner with us to teach, train, and build in all those locations our processes and be part of his company. And we've struck that deal, and here we are. A few weeks ago, we finally put a ring on it, and we are now delving into that opportunity to be nationwide, in some of the best markets in the country. And so we got a lot of work to do ahead of us, but it's a work, and it's work I'm doing from right here. I don't have to be in those locations to make that happen. So he's bringing his management teams and people to us. We're diligently working on building those structures, and it's an exciting new road for me right now at a time when I'm kind of getting bored. You know, I don't bored, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like, hey, you know, this is exciting. It's rejuvenating for me to go down that path, and I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, dude. Well, congrats. I've told you that before, but like that, it's so exciting because you just mentioned one thing is like if you stay doing one thing over and over and over, at some point, like, yes, you should like get really good at it and repeat it over and over to become that expert. But then you reach this point where you're like, I kind of mastered, like, I don't know how much further I can take this. Right. And so now you inject this new youthful idea, this youthful project that just reinvigorates yourself and gives you, like, relights that passion to be like, oh yeah, I do have a lot more left in me. It's just, oh, it's just on this side of my brain or whatever, you know? So that's
Sure.
what's been kind of fun to see and talk with you and have these conversations. And it's like, oh man, he gets fired up. He's getting excited about this. And I think that's I think it's important. Like we all need growth. Like I feel like if we're not growing, we're dying. Like there is no such thing as coasting. Coasting is losing. And doesn't always
Definitely.
mean, you know, oh, go do this nationwide thing. Most people are not in a position where I would recommend that. And I am all for, like, you know, fire, ready, aim type thing. But you've got a lot going for you. You've got a great business. You've got a lot of things in place that are going to allow you to do this. So congrats and
Yeah, for sure.
well done.
Well, thank you.
What else? Do we cover everything? I feel like we have got everything on my list.
I think so.
Oh, the
You
last
know, I'll just throw this out there, Ryan. You know, I don't know why I feel compelled to share, but I think a lot of the friends in our community here maybe listening are aware, but you know, I had a heart attack last November, and it was crazy, right? Because I felt like I was prime, like I was feeling great, had no physical issues that I was even aware of, but I, you know, and I was even taking better care of myself. I'd been losing weight, quit eating fast food. I was just working on better dieting, better everything. And anyway, I ended up having a heart attack. I had 2 arteries with 90% blockage, and it was scary a little bit. You know, my wife was really scared. I felt like, hey, I got this. It's just another thing in life you deal with. It's a speed bump, no problem. I'm gonna be right back. And I was, luckily. And I mean, I had a heart attack on Tuesday. On Friday, I was in an airplane going on vacation. I had 3 stents, and but it changes your entire perspective. Like, you know, whoa, like, you know, now I've had to change so many habits, so many things in my life to get my health a priority, and that causes you to take other steps and make other priorities. And it just, you know, I'm glad I'm still around. I'm glad I have the new lease on life. But it's funny how you start getting to where you're like, yeah, you know, where am I going? And something like that just slaps you in the face, and you're just like, man, I gotta get control. Take it back.
Well, I'm glad you shared it. It's you know, our consequences in life, whether they're good or bad, there's usually, not always, sometimes they're instant. Like you jump off a cliff without a parachute, you die. Like that's pretty instant consequence. But like most of the consequences, like your success, where you're sitting at right now, did not happen overnight. It literally took 20 years to get you to this point. The heart attack took you 57 years to get to that point, right? Like these things are, there's a delay. And so, like, if you're not working on your mental health, your personal health, your spirituality, whatever, you know, that you've been called, you need to work on. It's hard because you probably don't feel like you're like, okay, you ate a granola bar. I don't know. Are you supposed to eat granola bars? What are you supposed to do after a heart attack?
A lot of things.
it doesn't,
A lot of
it might not feel good right after. You might like, okay, well now I'm never gonna have a heart attack. Like that's not
yeah,
necessarily true, but there's always a delay. So like it's the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is today. So I just want
right.
to like encourage everyone to like get started, like get better at your health, get better at being a business owner, get better at sales, pricing, whatever it is, get better at being a leader. Like most of us are not where our future self is going to be. That's why it's called our future self, right? So
Yeah.
there's just a huge delay in these things. And I'm sure had you known like, hey, when I'm 57 on this date, I'm going to have a heart attack. Well, then, yeah, you would probably have made some changes to like delay it or minimize it or have it go away. But we don't know that. None of us do.
Well, it's an education. It's a quick education. Like you think you understand things, and as a firefighter, I was a paramedic for 25 years, and and until it happens to you, you think you're indispensable. Like this won't happen to me, because I'm not that guy who's 350 pounds and doing all these other things, but my insides were, I learned a lot about genetics and how that's 90% of your makeup, and
Yep.
there's things that aren't in your control necessarily, but there's also a lot of things that are in your control, and having to do the right things and dieting and the way I was living and more cardio, and it's a great time to have a heart attack if you're going to have one, because it's amazing today versus just a few years ago. Seriously, I mean, if you're not too long ago, they would have sent me home and said, rest for 6 weeks and good luck, and here's some nitro. If you have a problem, take this. Now the medicine and technology to it is just truly amazing.
What are
So
some habits or routines, some things that you're more intentional now? I know the other day
yeah,
I was eating my Chick-fil-A or something. You were eating your salad.
oh yeah. Well, you gotta they get your attention real quick. Your cardiologist, gives it to you straight. A couple of habits. One for me was smoking cigars. No more. Done. Nicotine is plaques. Number one enemy is nicotine, and that's what causes it, creates it with your genetics you have. And so, no more shenanigans like that with the boys on the golf course or in the backyard or wherever I am. It's no more red meat, except for maybe one steak a month kind of thing.
Hey.
I was eating fillets like Big Macs. It was like, that was my go-to every day. And it was like, no, you're not doing that anymore. And so it's a Mediterranean diet. My meds I take every day, blood thinners and blood pressure and statins, all that stuff. But it's just being smart decisions, taking good care of it. So that's the trick. So hey, Sarah.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing. What's up, Sarah? All right. Well, no, that's cool, man. I always appreciate our conversations. I appreciate you being vulnerable on here and talking about your business and your personal life and your health and all this stuff. There's just so many good takeaways. I know I was already on like a personal health journey before your heart attack, but it changed my perspective too. I'm like, there's no way I was surprised when you're like, yeah, I just had a heart attack. I'm like, what? Like, you're not old enough to have a heart attack. It seemed healthy to me. I didn't know how much you smoke cigars, so maybe I should have known. But
hey, no one's more surprised than me. I can tell you that.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, it changes your perspective for sure. So, I'm on this kick right now of not just like physical health, but really, I feel like if you can win the personal battle with health and mindset and all this stuff, like the business stuff, I'm not going to say it's easy because business is not. It's one of the hardest things ever, but it's a challenge that's winnable, and it's a much easier when you're in the right mindset, when you're in good health and all these things. And if you can win that personal struggle, then the business side becomes relatively easy at that point.
No doubt.
Well,
I think when you're focusing on the right things, though, when turbulence comes in your business, and it will, there's always something you're trying to fix or gets broken or whatever it is. You have the time and the mindset to focus on it. When you're running out of control, man, everything just seems to cave. It's like you just can't keep up, and you're not focused on the right things.
Well, I'm glad that Keith is still here. I know your wife is.
Mm.
So thanks for,
Cool.
hanging in there, buddy. And you got to go on
Heck
that
yeah.
vacation literally like 3 days after. What'd your surgeon say? You told him you were going on vacation right after that.
Yeah, they wheel me in, and I says, before I put you under, do you have any questions? I said, yeah, just one. And this was Tuesday before Thanksgiving. I said, Friday I'm getting on an airplane. He says, where are you going? I said, Curacao. And he goes, well, that sounds really nice. He goes, well, I tell you what, I'm not going to answer that question right now. But when you wake up, I'll let you know. So I wake up. First thing he says is, you want the good news or the bad news? I said, the good news. He goes, you're going to be going on your vacay, man. He goes, but you're going to carry your medications, your blood thinners with you every day on your body. You can't check them in. It's a life-threatening emergency if you don't. And I said, well, what's the bad news? And he goes, oh, you got 3 stents. But we fixed you. You're fine. I was like, really? Okay. Anyway.
Which
It
that,
was just
that
kind
was
of
a shocker because I talked to you before you went in for surgery and you were like, you were like, I don't know, might be like a heart attack or something. I'm fine, like, I mean, my wife's gonna come get me just in case, and then all of a sudden you're like, yeah, dude, I had 3 stents.
dude, my wife was gonna kill me because, and so was Nina, my office manager. So I'm sitting here in my office, and I knew I had an event that morning, but I went away. I was feeling fine, but I was like, I gotta go get checked. I can't just assume this was nothing. And I should have just immediately just probably called 911 when I had it, but I'm too stupid. And being a paramedic firefighter, what do I know? I had too much to get done that day. It's right before Thanksgiving. The world's crazy. I got too much to get done.
Going on
So
vacation
anyway,
on Friday.
well, no, here's the kicker. I said, I have a Zoom call with one of our secret members, a coaching call that I was engaged on. And I said, I'll go after the call. And my wife walked into the office and she looks at me and she gave me the look of death. She's like, you get your ass off that phone in the car right now. We are going to the hospital. I'm like, but I feel fine. Anyway, yeah, I was an idiot.
Oh my gosh, dedication.
I was an idiot. I never even told, I'm trying to remember who that call was with too that day. And I don't even think he knew. I don't think I ever told him.
Sorry, I had a heart attack. Can we reschedule? All right. Well, thanks for coming on here, man. Really appreciate you, Keith, and stay healthy out there. Okay.
Hey, same, Ryan. Doing great things in this world. Appreciate you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate you. Oh, where's this? What's going on? I was gonna play outro music. Oh, there it is. All right, guys, go do stuff. Keep moving forward. Be better than you were yesterday. Love y'all.